In pursuit of truth amidst a whirlwind of unanswered questions and haunting revelations, we find ourselves wondering what really happened to Madeline Sodto the night that Stephan Sterns arrived and got her ready for bed. Shortly after that, she went missing and was later found not alive. Stephan's parents, Deborah and Chris Sterns, weigh in on the closure of this case for the Sodtos, and all those that are affected by this case.
We cannot fully process what happened or find peace with this nightmare that has consumed our lives. Again, from Deb and Chris Sterns. All right, now we fast forward when we discovered Stephan removed the hard drive. Who does that? He left Northport with intentions with consequences, with possible blowback. Hence, removing his hard drive. Again, who does that? And I remind you that when Stephan went to Maddie's after party, we'll call it, Maddie had a birthday on Sunday. She got home at 8:30. Stephan showed up at 9. The day before that, Stephan was all over the house being antsy, asking his parents for anxiety pills. He left Northport to go visit Maddie with his freaking hard drive. He removed his hard drive to go see Maddie. Who does that? An argument could be made that it was not manslaughter, but the big capital M, because he removed the hard drive. Who does that? Are you seeing a common theme? And these are questions that Chris asks you, asks me, puts it out to the universe. Who does that? All right. Why do you speculate that Stephan was so upset on Saturday? All right. Now, he was upset on Saturday, the Saturday before Maddie's birthday, where she came home. Jen came home at Maddie got home at 8:30. Stephan got there about 8:39. Supposedly he was getting Maddie ready for bed. Jen Sodto came home 10:30. By 11, she sent them upstairs. All right. So who does that as a parent? I ask you as well. And let me just take a look at chat. Make sure you guys are good. There are 300 people in chat, and we're on a members only. So thank you. Hit that like button, guys. And yeah, we don't, and maybe Chris will answer some of these. And if you look back at other episodes, he does answer about red flags of a teenager. And there were no red flags from Stephan as far as the essay went. But remember, he did have bouts of anger, and he threw scissors at Chris's head, going close to him. He choked him. So as far as anger, yes, there were red flags. As far as the CSAM, no. Right? And that's coming from them, what we talked about. Now, as far I took it with him, premeditation is there. Absolutely. All right. Yay, Kalisa, you caught a live and a members only chat. All right, let's keep going. So, and what I'm reading here, I think, again, context is king. Although Chris came on here a week ago and explained a lot, it didn't come out in the way that it did on this paper, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. We will put it up on our Ghost platform, but it will be behind a paywall. Okay, so if you have a membership on Ghost and you pay for even a month, you can get the document and go over it yourself. I'm listening to you while I'm paying bills. Well, good for you. Paying bills is a feat in itself. All right, let's keep going. All right. Yeah, this is a members only right now, and I gifted 10 memberships at the beginning so that you guys could get in and see what was going on. All right. And who's saying goodbye? I just seen somebody say, I have to say goodbye. I've got my nephew's game at 5. All right. Good luck to you, Coco. And come back and watch it, won't you? All right. And thanks anybody that's become a member, a super chat, super sticker, more, Abe, Hound Lover. I thank you, CN and Bex, for becoming a member. All right. I'm glad that the Sterns wrote this letter. It's heartbreaking, all that they went through. Absolutely. They're still going through this. Every freaking time a new video comes out of some FOIA information from a year and a half ago, it's like the Twilight Zone. It happens all over again. And yes, we are a members only chat right now. All right. And yes, I gifted you a membership very early on in today. All right. All right. Let me continue, and then I can We're going to have a call in. So when I do have a call in, I'm going to call Chris and let him talk for a bit. And then if you guys want to call in, you can. And yes, Groundhog Day every time a new old video comes out. All right. Threats, doxing, harassment, all of that. And I know how that is. It sucks. All right. So let's take a look real quick. Again, speculating on Saturday. Why was Stephan so upset? I want you guys to remember that Saturday. He was so upset. People thought that he was so upset that he actually showed up on Saturday and that they lied to us, but that didn't happen. All right. Why was he so upset? According to Chris and Deb, they say, I can only speculate why. She was complicit and wanted to protect Stephan, which in turn would protect her. Now, this is about Stephan and Saturday, him being upset. She was also in denial about Stephan's involvement. Now we're talking about Jen a little bit. Also, Jen wanted to protect Stephan because the detectives told her they were moving forward with the charges of CSAM against Stephan. He needed a lawyer, something Jen did not tell Chris. So she didn't tell him that he needed a lawyer because of they found a bunch of child CSAM abuse material. She just said, get Stephan a lawyer. They're looking at him. They didn't do that, thankfully. All right, the timeline and limited information. This comes again from Chris and Deb's email. It's crucial to understand how information reached us. This all began with phone calls on Monday afternoon. Let's take you guys back to Monday afternoon when Maddie had been missing all day long. Jen Sodto went over to the school and said that she was in the front of the line waiting for Maddie. All right. First, about the flat tire. Then, about Maddie not being at school, being there 3 hours away. We had extremely limited access to information. From Monday until afternoon of Tuesday evening is when I left for Orlando, which is Chris. Stephan was our only source of information, and we had no access to local news coverage. This remained our sole information source until I met with detectives on Wednesday at 9 p.m. when I still understood this was being treated as a missing person case. So we just looked at we heard some of the audio. At this point, they didn't even know. They still thought Maddie was only missing. It wasn't until after Stephan's arrest was announced that they saw Tuesday morning a TV interview, which aired on Friday, that they began to grasp the full scope of what had occurred with Maddie, Stephan, Jen, Maddie missing, Maddie being gone forever long, and then the CSAM material. All right. What about your reaction to Jen telling you about the images? Now, I wanted to answer this. I don't see Ashton Lee, but I think it's pretty awesome that Chris addressed this specifically to Ashton Lee, who is our crime crew family member. All right. So Ashton asked a specific question, and that was awesome of you, Chris, to answer. All right. So let me get to that. And thank you guys for being here. Members only makes it easier for me to keep track of chat and make sure that people aren't saying ugly things. That's not what I want to do on my channel. All right. So listen, what about the reaction to Jen telling you about the images? When Jen told me about the images found on Stephan's phone, I was already in shock from the rapidly unfolding events. She presented this information very matter-of-factly and honestly. I didn't fully comprehend what I was hearing or the significance to Maddie's disappearance. I was numb from the revelations and the struggling to process the dramatic shift from detectives telling me that Stephan was in the clear to his sudden detention and arrest. All right. In hindsight, I realized I should have asked more probing questions during the conversation with Jen. I was hearing her words, but not fully grasping their implications. Looking back, I missed critical opportunity to gather more information about that night, and I went from being called up on a supportive role to becoming a bystander, watching the events unfold, something that no parent is ever prepared to handle. That I agree. All right. Again, Ashton must have really good questions because what was your reaction to learning about the images? And again, the question that haunts me, especially after seeing Stephan's Tuesday interview, when we viewed it on Friday, we saw that everyone else had saw and comment, and it was total BS from both Jen and Stephan. At that time, we had known the full truth from the beginning. Our entire approach would, if, I'm sorry, had they known the full truth from the beginning, their entire approach would have been 180 degrees different. We would have immediately confronted Stephan, demanding answers and the truth, whether he would have provided it or not. All right. Now, what was your response once you understood the truth? Once they had understood a clear understanding of the events and the evidence, the images on his phone, the surveillance footage, and the discovery of Maddie's body, we had no doubt about Stephan's guilt. We were extremely angry at our son had put us in a such vulnerable position where our lives could have been destroyed. Now, I come back to this to, I know that someone that maybe someone that's not in chat would say, "Oh my God, all of this happened to Maddie. She's missing the CSAM, and you guys are thinking about yourself and how vulnerable you guys are." No, 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 guys. Listen, that was a lot to have the phone information, turning in drives and all of this stuff just coming down at once. And remember, Jen and Stephan called Chris to come down and help. So yes, it put them in a vulnerable position being in there. I know Deb is 71, 72, had heart surgery a year prior. So angry, in fact, that they were determined to help the authorities to the best of their ability, which you can't say for the Laundries and some other parents. Who's the other guy? There's a lot of other people that don't do that. All right, Aiden Fucci. Aiden Fucci's mom went and washed the evidence away. This is exactly why we immediately began removing 100% of the contents from his room, every article and possession. We knew he would not be returning, and there was no way he would be allowed back in our home. We wanted to restore that bedroom and distance ourselves from it best as possible, which led to the discovery of additional evidence. If he had been distributing CSAM from our home, and authorities had traced his activities back to our house, we could have been faced with an invasion by law enforcement, their home searched, contents turned upside down, Deb and I handcuffed on the lawn, dogs removed and placed in shelters. The potential consequences of his selfish actions conducted from our home were terrifying. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. Let me get back and chat for a minute and check on you guys. All right, we still have 312 people in here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for being able to set down your swords just for one night. Lie your swords down, put them away. Yeah, Roberta Laundrie, Aiden Fucci's mom. All right, thank you for putting your swords down and listening to another side of the story. It doesn't mean you have to walk away agreeing with me. It just means that you heard me. And thank you so much. Die in this cave for the $1.99 super sticker, super chat. Appreciate you. Holy shiznit, I didn't think of that. All right, let's keep going. What's up, Andy? How you doing? Good to see you. Oh no, you've been sick? Prayers for you, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you feel better soon. All right, Sherry, love you too, girl. All right, let's keep going, and then we'll do some stuff. I just want you guys to remember guilty of crime, Deb, Chris. In this case,